Hey, Gaijin Guinea Pig here, and I wanted to do this video on BTS and mandatory military service, which is sort of, I guess, the hot topic surrounding the group at the moment. And it's a topic that I think is actually really interesting because it goes deeper than just the group, obviously. I saw this article on Japan Today because I'm a big Japan nerd, and of course, I read Japan Today. Who doesn't? The reason military service is mandatory in South Korea is, or it should be pretty obvious, right? They've got a neighbor up north that's a giant jackass and a constant threat, quite frankly. It's one of those things where it's like a sleeping giant. You just don't know when it's going to wake up and start stomping. So, when you have a neighbor like that, you have to have as many people as prepared as possible. Can you imagine JK on the front lines just smoking North Koreans? Anyway, that's a fan fiction for another day. So, mandatory service is what we typically call it when we're talking about it, right? But the term for it is conscription. And pretty much every male in South Korea between the ages of 18 and 35 are required to do at least 2 years of military service, right? Makes sense. It's just like, hey, you're old enough, lock and load, let's get ready. Now, BTS are in a very unique position because they're the biggest group in the world, and they've done more for South Korea and its pop culture and its global status than, quite frankly, a lot of things in recent years, and as far as what I can think of. But before I ramble into nonsense land, let's take a look at this article together and sort of see what they have to say about it. I think there are some interesting points, and I'll probably play devil's advocate a little bit. I think it's very important to remain as objective as possible when dealing with something that's actually deeper than just pop culture and music and a beloved group. But y'all know I love BTS. It's Ajashi Army, baby. So let's take a look. All right, Japan Today. All right, guys. Lucky Seven. What are they doing? Posing it at the carpet during arrivals at the iHeartRadio Jingle Ball. I saw some clips from that. Solid performance. Interesting that they're using a 6-month-old photo. All right, so the headline is BTS rekindled the debate about military service in South Korea. Out of Seoul. Doot, 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 doot. A surprise decision by South Korean boy band BTS to take a break from live shows has rekindled debate about mandatory military service in a country setting global pop culture trends while facing a decades-old Cold War threat. Very important to keep those two things in mind because you might think pop culture, who gives a crap? A lot of people give a crap, especially when you think about the amount of money involved and just how you're viewed on a global level. But we also really care about that Cold War threat because our buddy Kim Jong-un, he wildin' sometimes, let's be honest. Military service is hugely contentious in South Korea, where all able-bodied men aged between 18 and 28. Okay, they're saying 18 and 28, but I've read 18 to 35. So, who's lying to me? Anyway, they're meant to serve for about 2 years as part of efforts to defend against a hostile North Korea. True story. My first trip to South Korea was probably 2009, I want to say. And at the time, Kim Jong Un's father, Kim Jong the Illest, he was in charge at the time. And even then, like when I landed, got to my hotel, the news at the time was him shooting missiles into the sea. So they've been bugging forever, and who knows what's going to get them to stop bugging. I've also read that women are allowed to join the military service on a voluntary basis. So while they are not required, they can say, hey, we want to lock and load too. I love it. Quality. So, okay. Over the years, particular categories of men have won exemptions, either allowed to put off service for a certain time or allowed to do shorter service, including men who win a medal at the Olympics or Asian Games, and classical musicians and dancers who win a top prize at certain competitions. I mean, I'll never forget those photos of TOP from Big Bang when he was in his military fatigues, and I thought, oop, they got my boy. They got him. Under a 2019 revision of the law, globally recognized K-pop stars were allowed to put off their service until the age of 30. Okay, see, this makes sense to me. When you see a law that's in place since I think the 50s, I want to say, with this, it's very important to revise as the world around you changes. There's a lot to unpack there, but we'll leave that at that. Parliament is now debating a new amendment that would allow K-pop stars to do just 3 weeks of military training. 3 weeks. I mean, most jobs put you on 2 weeks of training. When I was a teacher in Japan, they were like, yeah, here's 2 weeks of training. Now go get them. So, okay, 3 weeks. For BTS, and in particular for the band's oldest member, known to fans as Jin. I like that, known to fans. You know, the outcome of the deliberations in Parliament will be momentous. That's true, it's a biggie. It's sort of like, in regards to this issue, this is what people are paying attention to. Jin. He's the oldest guy. I think he's 29. You know, I get a little confused when it comes to the international Korean age thing, and who can keep up? So, while the band's management company has long presented the 7 BTS members as keen to do their duty, the reality of 2 years of full-time military service is coming sharply into focus as time ticks by. I mean, I'm over here sweating thinking about it, but if you're a Korean male, it's got to be like this little voice in the back of your head constantly that's like, hey, this is coming. Poke, 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 tick, tick, tick. And even if you're in a huge supergroup like BTS, you're thinking, uh-oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, you're sort of torn between this, you're on this line between patriotism and sort of like, I just kind of want to live my life without having to be forced to do anything, which, you know, most people fall into that camp, I would say. So yeah, I feel for Jin and all the other South Korean males that are sort of constantly torn between that reality. But again, the reality of your neighbor is like, ugh. So Jin, okay, they have him as 29 here, has put off his service for as long as he can and is facing the imminent prospect of a full stint, meaning 2 years out of the public eye when he turns 30. I know, fans, can you imagine? 2 Jin-free years, like, but imagine when he came back, like, the ticker tape parade. It would be like a banner day. His fans, the fans, would kind of go ape. For Jin and his bandmates, waiting for Parliament to decide has been hugely stressful, and is the main reason they are taking a break from performing, said Yoon Sang-hyun, the lawmaker who proposed the amendment to including 3-week training for K-pop stars. Now, I apologize for my Korean pronunciation. It is garbage. That being said, I could see why that would be really stressful. Like I just mentioned, it's always in the back of your head. It's the little devil on your shoulder, whatever you want to call it, that's constantly saying, hi, no matter what you do, this is still a thing that you're going to have to face eventually. So try living your life knowing that. All right, the members cited exhaustion and the need for rest, as the main reason, but the real reason was Jin's military service, Yoon told Routers. Now, I would think that it's a mixture of both, quite frankly. To see anything that BTS do and have done and not think that how are these guys not exhausted, you're kidding yourself. They're probably the hardest working guys in show business. So, but yeah, I imagine Jin is like, okay, everybody, we gotta chill. Everybody take a break. I gotta focus on what is potentially my next personal chapter. The extent to which BTS had raised South Korea's profile around the world through soft power should be taken into account when considering their military service, Yoon said. Absolutely. Like, the Hallyu wave has been a thing for a while, especially with Korean dramas and even certain Korean pop bands, but I'm telling you, and I've said it before, BTS is different, right? I've said that they transcend the label of K-pop. They absolutely do. They're a group that has put South Korea on the map, so to speak, when it comes to just paying attention to everything going on there. People want to know. BTS has done a job that would take more than 1,000 diplomats to do, he said. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Yoon. Like, no one's doing what they're doing. No one is doing what they've done, I should say. And quite frankly, will continue to do once they're done with their break. You and I both know that. Since their 2013 debut, BTS have become a worldwide sensation with their upbeat hits and social campaigns aimed at empowering the youth. Absolutely, they are more than just music. Alright, BTS became the first Asian band to win Artist of the Year at the American Music Awards last year. Bing! And they met US President Joe Biden at the White House in May to discuss hate crimes targeting Asians. Bing again. Cho Kwang-ho, apologies, Secretary General of the Korea Music Content Association, a coalition of K-pop agencies, including the band's Big Hit management company, said the wait for a decision was excruciating. Yeah, I could totally see that. The young artists have been tortured with hopes that never come true, Choi said. Jeez. I mean, will they, won't they? A Gallup poll in April showed nearly 60% of South Koreans supported the bill exempting globally successful K-pop stars from full military service, with 33% opposed. Okay, the numbers are there. They're saying, hey, these guys are doing bigger things from our country than, doing military exercises, quite frankly. They're bigger than that. And we got plenty of people strapped up in fatigues. The band and their management company have steered clear of the debate, but in April, Big Hit official Lee Jin-hyung told a news conference in Las Vegas that some band members were having a hard time because of uncertainties over the parliament debate. He called for a decision. Yeah, pull the band-aid off already. Jin, asked hours later about Lee's comments, said he was letting Big Hit handle the issue, though adding that what Lee said reflected his view. Yeah, of course, he's like, hey, these are my people, this is my team, talk to them if you really want to know, but I agree with what he's saying. We're on the same page, pal. K-pop's not the only sector hoping for a change in the rules. The new administration of President Yoon Suk-yeol, I think I pronounced that one pretty good, is considering exemptions for some engineers and researchers in the computer chip and other tech fields. The Ministry of Defense pointed to a constitutional requirement for all citizens to do their duty to defend the country. Playing devil's advocate, it is tough when you have a situation where it feels like someone's playing favorites or being treated differently when, 98% of the rest of us are being treated one way, and then you have this special group. But that's if you're not considering or taking into account what this special group is adding to the greater good. Like BTS, if they are treated differently, it's not just because they are BTS. You have to consider what they've contributed to South Korea as a whole. They're not just hanging out twiddling their thumbs and getting rich and famous. It's not that simple. Adding pop culture artists in the scope of art and sports personnel who are eligible for the exemption requires careful consideration in terms of fairness, a ministry official said. That's what I was just talking about. Fairness is a tricky thing, and everyone can have their own very specific interpretation of fairness, and whew, that gets to be pretty tricky, and feelings get hurt quickly if they feel like they're being treated unfairly. Some young men also wonder about the case for special treatment for BTS. So Chang-jun, 20, said he understood why Olympic winners got an exemption, but he wasn't sure about BTS. I'm sorry, So Chang-jun, but you're bugging. Quote, the Olympic Games are national events where all Koreans cheer for the same team, but not everyone is a BTS fan. Many people aren't even interested in them, he told Routers. Okay. Boy got me sweating. Now, okay, obviously he's right. There are some people that don't give a crap about BTS. Fair point. Not just in Korea, but around the world. But again, think about it this way. Do more people around the world care more about a athlete in Korea that wins a gold medal, like in track and field, for example, or BTS and their accomplishments? Now, I'm inclined to believe that the people that care about the gold medal athlete, it's probably going to be predominantly Koreans. But we're talking about a group that has loyal fans the globe over, and the type of money and attention and praise that comes directed towards South Korea as a country is 10 times the amount of those things that a gold medal athlete would bring to the country. So his comment is dopey, but this is what I'm talking about. There's always going to be people that feel like it's not fair. I think it's a fascinating topic. It feels very uniquely South Korean. Sorry if I don't know all the military rules for all the countries around the globe, but this is what I'm paying attention to because I'm Ajashi Army, baby. So what do you guys think? I'm real keen, if I can get the out of my mouth. I'm real keen to know what you guys think about this mandatory military service that takes place in South Korea, just as a general rule, but also what you think about BTS being a part of that. Should they be exempt? Can you understand where the 20-year-old So Chang-jun is coming from? Yeah, let me know down in the comments below. I thought this was an interesting article. I thought I'd share it and my opinions with you, and I'd love to hear your opinions. Let me know. But yeah, give this video a like, think about subscribing, check out some of the other videos on my channel. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.